Hi guys, welcome. Danny here for the Magic Junk Drawer. So it's been called to my attention that people do want to hear stories from the A&P Vault. So I decided I'll do a series of stories. I mean, I have stories like you would not believe. I started at A&P when I was 15. My grandfather worked for A&P for many, many years, and he knew the manager that worked in my store, and he got me the job. I remember I went to the interview wearing an Ozzy Osbourne t-shirt. And the manager that interviewed me hired me right on the spot. I was a total rock star, my Ozzy Osbourne t-shirt. And I was going to be I remember I started July 6th. Summer had just ended, 4th of July was over, and now I was going to work. Because God forbid you should have fun, in my mother's eyes. You were not going to sit around the house, and you were not going to hang out with your friends, you were going to work. So that's what I did. I went to work. And the shifts were like really long because at this point in A&P history, A&P was still like probably one of the best grocery stores. And our prices were good. We had decent sales, and we had a lot of kids working with us, which is really funny because um, they used to hire at 14. Now, these days, I mean, we were hiring at 16, and even at 16, they were only allowed to work limited hours. But back then, really, after school, I was only allowed to work 3 hours, and the shifts were either 3 to 6 or 4 to 7 because you couldn't work past 7 if you were under 16 in New York State. And then if you were under 18, you couldn't work past 10. So for my first couple of years working there, I remember I would get a lot of anxiety. I know, for such a rock star, I always had anxiety. I had a lot of anxiety, like when my line would back up and that I wasn't moving fast enough. And I would get a lot of anxiety about, you know, like people getting mad at me. Like if I had to void something off or if I rang something twice, it really wasn't a big deal. All you had to do was hit the void button and scan it again. And then people would talk to you like you were stupid. If you have to void something, it's like light. If say you ring something twice, it would be lighter print, and then the one that came off would be darker, and it would have a minus sign, and they would be like, "Oh, I think they just scanned it 3 times," and I would be like, "No, the darker one, with the minus sign, means that it came off." Yeah, but I'm the idiot. I'm the brainless one working at the grocery store. People really do treat grocery store people like they have no brains. So, as I get older, one thing that I really started to think of was I can't believe the way people would talk to me when I was a kid working there. Like, if somebody talked to my kid like that, like I was 15, like I was a kid. Would you want me to come into your kid's job and talk to them like that? Whatever. So, anyhow, as life went on, there were times in my life, like when I was in college, I wasn't working a lot. I was in school a lot. Maybe I was working 2 or 3 days a week. And then when I got my full-time job, I wasn't working that much. And then there were other points in my life where I was working as much as they needed me and as much as I could. So I've seen a lot. I've seen it all. Let me think. One of the funniest stories, and I'm not making fun of people that have any kind of mental disorder or, anything like that. I'm not making fun of them. But this really happened. I, at one point, was running the health and beauty aids department, which, it's like all the health and beauty care. And on the opposite side of the aisle were like the diapers and baby stuff. My side was one side, and then the other side had all these, the big diaper boxes. So this woman, who I had seen in there before, like, I don't know if there was something, maybe, I don't know if she was on some kind of a medication. I don't know what caused it, but I had seen this woman before. She never acted like this before. But I went down to the back room to put my stuff on the U-boat, bring it out to the aisle. And when I got out to the aisle, I kid you not, this woman who was dressed professionally, if you saw her, this woman dressed with nice makeup, nice clothes, looked very professional, had taken all of the diapers off the shelf and was sitting inside the shelf. She was sitting in the shelf, on the shelf, and all the diapers were on the floor. And she had like magazines like The Inquirer and Star and things like that, and she was reading them. And I came down the aisle and I was like, oh my God, I don't even know what to do right now. So I went and I got my manager. And I said to him, I go, you're going to have to see this because I don't even know how to handle this. So him and another manager came down the aisle and they saw her and they were like, ma'am, you can't sit there. And she was like, I'm doing research. And they were like, okay, well, you can't do your research here. You're going to have to go somewhere else. You're rude. Okay, well, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. I know about you. And soon they're all going to know about you. You killed John Benet Ramsey. And then she got up and left. And that was that. I mean, they couldn't make this stuff up. But this is stuff that happened. This is stuff that happened frequently. There was another woman towards the end of A&P life where she was like Eastern European or something. I think she spoke English, but not well. Her family would drop her off like in the beginning of the day. I guess because they had to go to work, they didn't want her home. And she would just hang out in the shopping center. She had a family. I mean, we'd seen them. Then we saw her drop her off and pick them up. And like one time she's outside on the bench, sleeping on the bench. When they told her that she couldn't do that, she went over to the bank across the street and she was lying on the curb in front of the bank. Like, you can't treat grandma like this. Like, you got to get her into senior citizens or something. I mean, this ain't right. But the thing is that the woman, I guess, didn't know what to do with herself after a while. Like, she'd go and she would get chicken. She was probably hungry. And she would be standing in front of the door where the customers were coming in, like, eating chicken and, like, licking her fingers. And my boss would be like, oh, we can't have you here. You can't be standing here. So another time, I'm behind the courtesy desk, and my friend who was coming to work comes in, and I'm not kidding you. Like, I could crack up when I see this in my head. It was really cold out, so she's all bundled up with a scarf wrapped around her head and her face, and she comes in, she turns the corner, and she says, somebody better call the manager. Grandma's in the vestibule shaving her chest. And I'm like, what? She goes, I'm not kidding. You think I'm kidding? Grandma is in the vestibule shaving her chest in the reflection of the door. You can't make it up. You just can't. Who could write stuff like this? I mean, it's better than any sitcom. So I had to get my manager because I said, listen, I don't know what to tell Grandma, but she's shaving her chest so that was that. I think eventually we had to confront the family and said, you just can't drop her off here like this. You know, this is not right. Rescuing dogs. I rescued a number of dogs from whether it was idiots that left their dog in the car on a hot day or they left the dog tied up outside. I mean, a number of dogs. I've had to hold people's children, watch people's children. Just a lot of crazy stuff goes on in the grocery store. So there is more to come because I want to keep these videos short. I could go on forever. See you in the next video. If you like what we're doing here at the Magic Junk Drawer, don't forget to like and subscribe.